Hi, I am, you guessed it, your host, and you know what show. You've been following us for almost 6 or 7 years at this point. I am so grateful and so humbled. I am Jessica Koch, and this is another Profound Professionals. And for all these years and for hundreds of episodes, we have been able to bring you industry experts and leaders that help you improve your personal life or grow your business. And I am not going to disappoint you today. I am anything if I am not consistent. I have got another hero to bring to the table and share with us. I have Scott Ertl, and Scott helps your positive messages always rise to the top. There is so much noise out there and there is so much negativity. We need Scott, and I'm so glad he's here with us. So, welcome, Scott.
Well, thank you, Jessica. Thank you for this opportunity to join your crew. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to meet all your followers.
Yeah, I love bringing people like you. So tell me, how is it that you became passionate and how did your journey lead you down a road where you were focused on positive messages and helping people rise to the top?
Well, Jessica, I paid my way through college and grad school by working in the circus. I performed comedy, magic, and juggling for 9 years, and I loved being able to provide humor and play and joy to people as a comedy performer. And the joke is, I ran away from the circus to join a school, and I worked for 22 years to work as a school counselor. And as
Oh,
a school counselor, I also use comedy and joy and humor and play and creativity with kids and families to be able to come up with fun ways to help people come together. Like you said earlier, there's so much negativity in the world that sometimes the good stuff gets filtered away or slips away. So we always want to latch onto that and don't let it go, because
that's
that's where we get a lot of energy, is from our humor and creativity.
yes, laughter is so, so good for us. I mean, there's laughing yoga, there's all kinds of studies on laughter. I mean, it is just one of my favorite things. When I get to keynote speak and at the end, someone comes up to me and says, your information was great, or I learned so much. That's always nice. But I have to tell you, my favorite compliment ever is, oh my gosh, you were so funny. And so I've spent 24 years convincing my hot hunky husband just how funny I am. He still doesn't buy it, but my daughter, one of my adult daughters said to me recently, Mom, I got my sense of humor from you. I laugh all the time. I make jokes, and everywhere I go, no, nobody gets it. So she says, I'm laughing alone, but I got my humor from you. So, I figure as long as someone's laughing, it's a good thing. So tell us more about how you actually achieve this. Talk.
Sure, sure. So I love what you just said about humor. You're so true. Charlie Chaplin has a famous quote. He says, "Comedy equals tragedy plus time." And
Mm,
unfortunately, so many of us spend too long in the tragedy part, and we
mm,
need too much time before we can see the humor in it. But I
mm,
like to be able to find the humor in our tragic times and be able to give humor to other people when they're kind of experiencing a down time.
mhm.
So, in all my years in the circus and all my years as a school counselor, I both times I saw how addictions could hurt so many people, and how mental health is really dangerous to a lot of people. And it's not funny. It's we're talking about serious stuff of when they're struggling, when people are in those dark moments. So I'm not saying to laugh it off and to pretend that all that stuff doesn't matter or doesn't exist, because it definitely does.
Mhm.
However, we can definitely provide humor, and an uplifting spirit to these folks when they're in such pain, and definitely the support systems around these folks, to be able to give them, some joy and a break, some comedic hope, if you will. So for me, being able to acknowledge that, yeah, life is hard sometimes. I work with folks, I volunteer every Friday at hospice.
Mhm.
And I can see how, life is really hard for a lot of people at that time. But it doesn't mean that we can't find the joy in it and find the humor in it and find the hope that we can be able to provide folks, even in hospice, some positive times to cling on to, as well as to reminisce about.
Now you have a tool that you use that helps this whole positive message and helping that rise to the top for people. So could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure, Jessica. Uh, if you're like me, you probably have lots of positive voicemails, uh, text messages, emails, maybe even some videos that really sing to your soul and bring a smile to your face and warm your heart when you look at those or you listen to those positive messages. Unfortunately, they're usually pretty outnumbered by all of the just the mundane, or spam or just junk mail or junk useless text messages and emails and whatnot that we get. So I created the Buoy app. The Buoy app is the idea that instead of drowning in all that negativity that we have surrounding us all the time, we want to be able to cling on to a buoy to help us get the air that we need to breathe and to be able to swim and endure the next part of our journey. So the Buoy app is a free app that you can download on your phone, Android or iOS. So you're able to store voicemails, text messages, or videos to be able to pull up in those times of need when you're needing a little extra inspiration.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. What a really interesting app. And now, what's a tip you could share with us of something that someone listening could do today in order to improve their life and have things go a little better for them?
I find that through service, we benefit. You can't just give a hug because when you're given a hug, you get a hug in return, right?
I love that.
So So when we send a buoy out to other people, not only does it make their day, it makes ours as well. So I would encourage folks to go through your contacts on your phone and just give it a good spin and see where it lands and ask yourself, would you like to be able to send that person a positive message today? Whether it's an email, a text message, or a voicemail, or even a video of just saying to that person how much they mean to you. And you'll never know how many times your message might bring hope and joy to them when they feel like they might be drowning.
I love that. And you know what? I do I have to start them back up again. I have done in the past a lot of what I call gratitude spotlights, where I just randomly jumped online, live, created a video, and just celebrated someone I knew, and just about who they were more than anything, right? And what a good person they were, and how they brought value into my life, and then tagged the person and just didn't like call or tell them I did it, and they randomly just stumbled upon it or found it in their notifications. I got a phone call from a girlfriend of mine who's our travel agent, and I did this for her, and she said she couldn't. It was just amazing how much it meant to her, and it brought her, to tears, joyful tears that I would do something just randomly. So those random acts of kindness and thoughtful things are just so important. Before we move on to some of our other topics in the show, is there anything else about you personally, Scott, or your business or this app that you would like to share with our audience?
Um, One thing that I have kind of coined is this phenomenon called the windshield wiper phenomenon.
Mhm,
And what I mean by that is we can't always predict when we're going to have a rough time, but
mhm,
we can predict that when we're having a rough time, most of the time we go dumb during those periods.
mhm.
And here's what I mean. When it's storming and it's raining like cats and dogs out there, that's the last time in the world that I want to be out there changing my windshield wipers because
Mhm.
I'm going to get drenched. But on a sunny day, a beautiful day would be perfect for changing my windshield wipers. It's just out of my mind. I don't think about it.
Mhm.
So it's the next time that it's pouring down raining that I'm wondering, why do I have such a hard time seeing because of all the streaks in the windshield? So why I bring this up is everybody has rough times. So even though you might send that positive message to somebody today, it might not sing to their soul or resonate or be what they need so much right now. But isn't it wonderful that they're going to have it on their phone so that tomorrow or the next day when they need it, it'll be there? Because guaranteed, we all have those rainy days. It happens to all of us. And wouldn't you like to be the rainbow that's there for somebody on that rainy day instead of them feel like they're drowning or feeling overwhelmed by all that rain when they feel like they have nowhere to go and no buoy to hold on to give them that breath of life.
I really love that. I love that. And, I think that's part of why I was inspired to start our agency. We have a virtual assistant membership program where VAs all over the world help our clients get things done because, people feel like they're spinning so many plates, like in the circus, well, that guy who's spinning all those plates, and they really just need someone to come by and take one or two or three of those off their hands so that they can really focus on what they're passionate and what inspires them the most. So I totally appreciate that concept that you have developed with these positive messages, and giving that person that extra bit of love to pull them, that one more rung on the hope ladder to help them pull them out when they're having that low moment. So that's pretty beautiful. Can you share with us? We always feature on our show a time where we talk about a cause our guest cares about. Is there a cause that is close to your heart, Scott?
Absolutely. Suicide prevention is
Mhm,
near and dear to me.
mhm,
Not only have I had family members and friends that have committed suicide over the years, in my years in the circus and years as a school counselor,
mhm,
unfortunately, I came across many families that were impacted by that because it's never just one person who dies,
mhm,
it's an entire family system that's
mhm,
impacted for the rest of their lives.
mhm,
Every holiday, every
mhm,
celebration is just tainted by the void of that person that's no longer there, and all of the impacts of how that person uh, uh, hurt everybody by taking their lives.
yeah,
So when I heard about the facts of PTSD in military and
mhm,
how there's been 12,000 suicides since 9/11, and there's been 3,000 military that died in the line of duty since 9/11, the fact that we've had 4 times more suicides in military by their own hand than in combat is just heartbreaking because this is 100% preventable death,
mhm,
100% preventable death. And so many of us just don't know how to talk about it. We don't know how to address it. We don't know how to support folks that are going through that.
mhm,
So being able to, you know, endure that awkwardness
mhm,
and still be able to provide hope and love to people, not just the day that it happens and the week afterwards,
mhm,
but for months and months and years of continually being available to people and not be afraid to ask them how, yeah, how can I be a help? Would you like to go out for dinner? Would you like to, talk about some of your favorite memories of that person? And acknowledging that yes, their life, even though it was shortened, it wasn't erased.
yeah.
And we want to still be able to be interested in the impacts of that person on you.
Yeah, that goes for so many things. Loneliness is a horrid town to live in. Lonely town is not a good place. And so if you can help someone even just not be lonely, that's pretty powerful too. So that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, it's time for one of my other favorite parts. We are building the ultimate book list. All of our guests, we ask, is there a book out there that has inspired your personal life or helped you grow your business or expand what you're doing in the world? Is there a book you can think of that you would share with us, Scott?
Well, thank you, Jessica. Reading is such a great gift, isn't it? And
I love.
when we could take the time to really dig into a book and let it sing to our soul and to help find what resonates with us at that time. I've read the Four Agreements, at
Mm,
least 3 times, maybe even 4 times,
mm,
and each time I read it, a different agreement pops out at me at that time,
mhm,
and I read that probably about 2 months ago, and what stuck out for me this time was always do your best,
mm,
always do your best.
mhm.
And the part that resonates with me even more is realizing that everybody is doing their best. We don't really have to be told to always do their best, but we do have to be told and reminded, at least me, over and over, to remember that everybody is doing their best and to give them some grace, give them a second, the benefit of the doubt to realize that, hey, they might be dealing with something. Might not necessarily be suicidal, but they might be dealing with something that they need a little extra love or patience. I don't need to toot the horn if it took them an extra second and a half
Mhm.
to go when the light turned green,
Right.
but just realize that everybody's doing their best
Mhm.
and to give them some grace when we can.
I love that. Everybody needs a little grace. All right. So, if you're watching, and we are thankful that you are, so many of you have been with us for so long. I am so grateful for those of you who follow us, who listen, and especially those of you who take that extra second, that extra moment, and press share because you just don't know who really needs to try out Scott's new app and save and build up that bank of joyful and amazing and beautiful messages so that when you have that moment where you really could use a pick me up, then you have it right there handy in your hand and you can turn to it. Someone may need this and they will find it scrolling through their phone, and it might be just because you were kind enough to share. And if you're watching and you're an industry expert, or you can help someone's personal life, or better yet, you can help them grow their business so they'll have resources for their community and so that they can go farther, faster, and expand and be a benefit to so many others, well, then you should be on our show. We would love to have you. I bet if you are an industry expert, you know one or two other industry experts. So you could be a hero, mine and theirs, and introduce them to us. And guess what? We'll try to feature them too. So reach out to us. This is Profound Professionals. I'm your host, Jessica Koch. But before we say goodbye, we're going to get one final thought, some information or inspiration from Scott before we go. What do you have for us, Scott?
Thank you, Jessica. If we can be the light to other people, not only will it lighten their load, but it might lighten up their life.
I love that. Well, that's another great show and another amazing guest. Scott, thank you so much for being here with us today. And yes, you know who I am, your host, Jessica Koch. This has been another Profound Professionals. And until next time, as I always say, remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.